Welcome to EDC Journeys. This is the review of the Ontario Rat Model 1. If you like it, hit the thumbs up button and please enjoy. Well, it started. Kiki stole my bed. I'm just kind of hanging out waiting for my dentist appointment on Tuesday. Look at how her paw is sticking up. What's going on, EDC people, and what is our journey today? The Ontario Rat Model 1. The one from our friend Rick Kearns. With the modifications made by BJ Hill at Hilltop Knives and Gear. The modifications being the stone/acid wash finish, the Spidey hole, the finger choil, and the red dye. This is brand new. It's the Victorinox Tinker. I'm just comparing the reds, showing you the difference. 12.7 on the handle scales, which actually isn't even that much more than I think the Banter was like at 11, if I remember right. Yeah, 11.4. Spidey pair of 3, 11.3. 10.75 on the Civivi Elementum, but look at the standoffs. They also did the acid wash on the liners, it looks like. I'll just use the regular zoom, I guess. There we go. It is sharp. Anyways. Oh my god. I give in. You're too cute. I can really appreciate this tool. I would like the Rat 2, I think, with my hand size. They're a little swollen right now. I think I've had too much salt, but I'm just saying. Then, what else did I bring along? Because I still haven't packed them up, so of course I've still got to keep checking them out. Just a very capable tool, but of a different class than anything I have to show you. That's just the way it is. I love that it's proud to be USA. I love that clip. I love the placement of it. This is just me talking, by the way. I'm just have a moment to myself, and I'm broadcasting that moment to myself, to everyone. This is a tough knife. I mean, really it is. I didn't, you know, and I don't usually operate, like I'll use the button, obviously, to bring back, but I'll either Spidey flick, use the flipper, but I don't usually swing out by doing like that. You could, if you were in a rush or something, but I just see it as going out with too much force almost. and I'm trying to keep good care of someone else's tool as well, but I'll do it one time. Yeah, that snaps pretty good. I do wish it had less screws from a cosmetic point of view. So I don't have the Luna out here from Rick, but here's Rat 1. Very cool looking. Absolutely beautiful for work. Good morning, EDC people. That's my breath you're seeing. It is pretty cold here. It's one of the last times I'll be able to play with the Rat 1 from Rick, because I'm going to mail it back sometime this week. So I'm definitely going to carry this today. I am also starting to appreciate the Rat 1 size more. I don't take advantage of that forward choil very much, but if I'm just on the handle, the Rat 1 feels good. And I think Rat 1 I would prefer without the choil, and then the Rat 2 I probably would like with the choil. The Ontario Rat 1. Now, I've done these videos and reviews. Usually I do them all together at the same time. I borrowed 3 knives from Rick Kearns, as probably everyone knows if you watch my videos. I've mentioned it many times. This is one of them. It was modified by BJ Hill. Hilltop Knives and Gear. I'll try to throw a link in the description to his Instagram account. Okay. But when I did the review video, I didn't have my measuring tape, I didn't have my weight, or my scale, I mean. I was very discombobulated. So I'm coming back in and putting this video, or clip, in the shot as well. Clip in the movie, whatever I'm trying to say, you know what I mean. 4.695, so say 4.7 ounces. 133.10 grams. Well, if you go to the scale, it's about 3.6, almost 3 3/4. Well, yeah, pretty much 3 3/4. And then the cutting edge with the modification brings it to 3 inches. Schooled. I was told that in the United States they measure from the scale to the tip. But in the UK they measure the cutting blade. So the cutting blade on this is 3 inches with the modification. It would be longer than that without the modification. The handle, or closed length, 5 inches on the dot for a full length. And why don't I just check it while I have the measuring tape? That I don't see why it would be different, but 8 5/8 if I really wanted to get specific, I guess. Great knife, great work knife. I've really come to appreciate the knives that Rick sent. They were bigger than what I have and what I'm used to. Let me bring you up a little bit so you have some more visualization. Alright, well that's not perfect, but it gives me a little more room to fidget with the knife as I show it to you. So, I've already recorded my thoughts on it, and that clip will come next probably, but I wanted to give you the length and weight. The blade steel type on this one is AUS 8. It also comes in a D2 variant. If I were to choose one, I would choose the AUS 8, based off of what I've heard on the AUS 8 versus D2 on the Ontario knife, specifically. And I've heard that through people like Outpost 76. But would I be unhappy with the D2? Absolutely not. Now, I don't have a Rat Model 2 to compare this to. I'm ignoring the modification of that finger choil for a minute. In my hand pretty much fills the handle. I mean, the ergonomic part of the handle. Obviously, there's more room. I do feel that clip, but it doesn't hurt. It's just, it tucks right into the fattier hand, I guess, or at least my hand. Now, to use the forward choil on this for me would be more difficult because of my smaller sized hands. But the Rat 1 itself, the size of it, the jimping is perfectly placed for my thumb to land on, and I can see it's meaningful. It's meaningful. It's in the right spot for your thumb, and it even is in the right spot for that choil if you wanted to get really in there and do some controlled cuts. I love that the Rat 1, I'm doing this left-handed so it's a little awkward, but you can, I love how the rats, the shape of the blade, you can really get up there and do some belly work to slice. You can access the tip just as easy to puncture. And then you have a nice straight area for push cuts. And again, with that modification, you can get right up on there if you needed to. The clip was also stone washed or acid washed. I'm not sure which one it was. Let's just finish out the measurements. In millimeters, I'll be very gentle on your apex. Low power mode, okay, low power mode. Battery's going, gotta wrap this up. 25.3 on what I see is the straight area. The finger choil that BJ Hill put on, or not the finger choil, the Spidey hole. Well, hey, look, I can use this for the first time. It's got an internal diameter of 11.45 millimeters. Can't go much bigger because of what you have for stock right there. But it's big enough to do the Spidey flick. No problem. The finger choil adds a huge amount of space to sharpen, so I can't really compare the sharpening choil to the stock, but if I look at the choil 2.8, yeah, but it comes right down to a sharp edge, and Rick has a fantastic knife here. He has a great edge on it. Is that a little burr? I might need to strop that up a little bit for him. I didn't think I left any. Maybe it's just my imagination. Alright. Regardless, take a good look at the finish. This is not the stock finish. But, considering that, I can't talk about the stock finish. Haven't seen it in hand. I can tell you that this finish is cool because it makes scratches. It came with this scratch. But you'd have to be pointed out, to know that was probably not part of the process of finishing it. Meaning that it's going to, during use, gain scratches that will blend in and even look better. Love the red handle. That was scales and handle at the same time. A scandal. Oh my god. What can I tell you? No flipper tab to interfere with cuts. It does kind of go up, from the handle, the blade. I'm sure everyone's noticed that, but I'm just pointing that out. As far as ergos go, it's comfortable. I mean, again, I would really love to feel a Rat 1, a regular Rat 1 and a regular Rat 2 side by side and tell you how I feel about them. Maybe someday I can do that. But this Rat 1 in hand is comfortable. I'm not comfortable using the finger choil on this size of a rat. Or this size of a knife. meaning that it's ergonomically, it's not comfortable for me to go up that far because of the size of my hands. But I don't need to. That's a modification. This is someone else's knife. I can stay back here just fine and utilize that blade just fine. And I really like it. And I feel like I have a long reach with it. Let's compare it to the only thing I really have that compares is some Ganzas. I think I showed this in the original footage. And like I said, this kind of got all mangled as far as my, I recorded a clip and then days later recorded another part and then days later recorded another part. So if I'm being repetitive at all, I apologize. Just I'll try to edit out what I repeat, but if I don't, I don't. So I'm using these two examples. Both of them are Ganzo. Sorry if you dislike Ganzo. I don't. I like Ganzo for what they are. Both of these were knives that I got before I understood any of the politics of the knife community, so to speak. But take a look at the blade shape on the FH12 or the 11. They're the same. This is just the FH12 variant, which is so smooth, by the way. I mean, come on. But anyways, blade to me is very similar. Not exact, but similar. Pretty damn close. This is D2. This is OS 8, for whatever that's worth. And this is 440C. And again, I know that this is supposed to be some kind of homage to something, and I don't even know which one it is. And honestly, if it bothers you, I'm sorry, but I don't care. This is not whatever knife this copied, I was never going to get that day. I guarantee, if let's say it's a Griptilian, I don't really know, or a Spyderco. That I was shopping for something at this price point. I was never ever going to be able to get whatever this copied that day. I knew I wanted better quality knives like Spydercos and Benchmades eventually, but I didn't know much else besides that, and I certainly didn't know it was like a copy. And would that have mattered to me? To tell you the truth, I mean, yeah, slightly, but not really. Anyways, I'm not sure why this is turning into a Ganzo conversation. The wonderful, wonderful feature about being on YouTube is that I can talk to myself and it makes sense. Look at the handle comparison. They're pretty much the same. That's what I was getting at with this. The blade is obviously a different shape, but the handle itself is different, but for what I have to compare it to, there you go. But I do think that the blade on the FH11 and 12 is significantly similar. So if you were to compare, if you have one of these, this is about the overall size, roughly, of your Rat 1 blade. The handle, not so much. The handle's bigger on the Rat 1. And I try to line them up. Sometimes you want to line up the backs so that you can see the difference in lengths, but a lot of times I like to line them up by pivot, so that you can kind of use that as a center point and see what's different. So assuming these are lined up fairly well, which I don't know, depends how crooked my vision is, I suppose. And the camera obviously does play tricks with you, making things in the front look bigger than things as they go back this way. What else do I want to talk about? Action? Well, I mean, it's liner lock. It's a flipper, or not a flipper. It's a well, it's a flipper. It's a flicker. It's a flicker. Because the doesn't have the, usually would have thumb studs, I believe, if I recall. As far as this particular knife's break-in, it's still breaking in, as far as I'm concerned. But you can see it deploys perfectly. It's just coming down and it needs a little more time to break in, I think. It's perfectly centered. Great work knife. Through and through. Great work knife. I would love to compare it to a Rat 1, or a Rat 2. And I would love to get two side by side and see which one really I like better as far as ergonomics. The clip, I mean it's been modified. I believe this is the stock clip though, and I've had no problems with it going in and out of pocket. It's actually fairly long, so you can get it right in there, and it flattens back out. It does make contact with the G10. It is, because of the length, it's springy. It's nice. You know, for the price, this is one of those knives that, yeah, you know, you can add it to the now growing pile of knives that are value, budget, great knives. This is a great knife, and the modifications on it make it better. But if you don't get the modifications, it's still a great knife. If you're looking for a work knife that is competitive in its field, that stands up to the giants, I suppose, or you know, that is knife community approved, absolutely, the Rat 1 is a great knife. Okay, so I'll try to piece all these clips together the right way, and by clips I mean the video clips. I will get back to cleaning up Rick's knives and preparing them to send back to him later on this week. But I have to take advantage of the time I have left with them. It's a great knife. Looking inside the Rat 1 really quickly, you can see, I'm trying to show you that the liners are full liners. They're not skeletonized, which is fine. It, you know, I don't know how much that would affect the weight on this particular knife, but it could also have to do with balance. It is, although, well, it's been modified too, so I gotta remember that. It's a little handle heavy, but I like the weight it is. You know, but if you're particular about your weights, you know, because what was this, 4 point something ounces? I don't even remember now. $133.12, 4.7 ounces, yeah. So it's, you know, it's approaching 5 ounces, guys, for the Rat 1, and this one's been modified. So it's going to be closer, just slightly closer to 5 ounces. For 3 1/4, you know, 3 3/4, 3 5/8, or whatever the hell I said when I first measured it. Use that measurement, not the one I'm saying now. But very heavy duty. I'm using a little bore light here to kind of try to light it up for you, but it's not working out too well. Too much stuff in the background for the camera to focus on. I've got to find a, I'm going to be redoing where I record fairly soon. It's going to have amazing natural light, which I try to utilize now. Like what you're seeing right here is natural light through windows. I have 2 windows right here shining in. So there's right now this is with no light setup, just so you have an idea of what things look like on my channel. Once in a while at night I'll set up a light. Final thoughts on the Rat 1. Final thoughts. When I find a new job, if I'm allowed to use a knife because a lot of places it's very particular. What you know, the companies have policies of their own. Whether you can even use a knife, forget the size of it. But if I was, say, a grocery store person, you know, stocking shelves, I absolutely would use this to cut the boxes down, to open the boxes up, to cut the displays, you know, cut the windows out of the boxes, to do this, you know, do the little side cuts, or, oh my god, I can't even remember the tray cuts that you do when you make stacks on retail about bulks and stuff. Or if I was working in receiving, pallet straps, anything like that, this thing is capable of. And it's a nice knife. And it's one that you would put in your pocket to use at the price that it's at. And it's a great knife for that reason. It's a great knife for the value and the build. You'd be hard pressed to find a knife at this price, which I will put somewhere maybe right here, if I'm smart enough to put remember to put the little text here of what the retail of the Rat 1 Model 1 in AUS-A, if it's even available in AUS-A. If it isn't, I'll do the D2. But for the value, I'm just checking out the standoffs. Yeah, wow. For the value, this is a tough knife, and this will last you. It'll last you. It'll certainly last you a day's work, but I'm talking about it more like long term. It'll last you. And what a classic kind of drop pointish look on the blade. So you have great use of the flat, great use of the belly, great use of the tip. I suppose, you know what? If I put my middle finger in that choil, and I mean, I would really be creeping up, but if I needed to do some like real fine precision tip work, I could do that on this knife with that modification. You know, if I was cutting something out, or I think I would like the Rat 2 for my hand size. I don't know, guys. What do you think? I don't know what hand sizes. I mean, how do you measure your hand size? It's kind of deceiving because it looks like the Rat 1 would be, but it feels too big for my hand. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe this is the right size. I don't know. Now I'm just rambling. Rat 1, obviously, if it's in your budget and you want it, get it. Whether you're a collector or a user, it'll serve your uses perfectly. That's all. Have a great day. Thanks for watching my review video of the Ontario Rat Model 1. If you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up button and consider subscribing.